The main premise of Jurassic World Rebirth is for the team to retrieve DNA from 3 of the largest dinosaurs. Except out of the 3 target species, only one of them is actually a dinosaur. Titanosaurus. While only featured in one sequence, these massive sauropods truly delivered an unforgettable viewing experience for fans across the world. Seeing these long-lost majestic giants just straight up aura farming the entire time definitely left an impact on me that I haven't felt since seeing the first Brachiosaurus in the original Jurassic Park. Of course, what is shown on screen is still quite different from what the science tells us about these animals. Now for this video, we won't actually be comparing the Jurassic World Titanosaurus to the real-life species Titanosaurus indicus simply because of one fact. The remains of this animal are extremely fragmentary. It wouldn't be fair to compare the movie giant based on a handful of vertebrae at best. Instead, we'll be focusing on the general design and anatomy of the Jurassic World version and see how it compares to our understanding of large titanosaurs as a whole. We will then speculate upon what went into the DNA of these radically oversized reptiles. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, Titanosaurs were the last surviving group of long-necked sauropod dinosaurs, with species still persisting up until the extinction event at the end of the Cretaceous. This diverse group includes some of the largest land animals known to have ever walked the Earth. The Jurassic World Rebirth Titanosaurus is most likely inspired by the largest of the titanosaurs, such as Patagotitan. Patagotitan is estimated at 37 meters or 121 feet long, with a mass of 69 tons or 152,120 pounds. Talk about thick with 3 C's. Not all titanosaurs were towering giants, however. The recently described Titanomachia from the La Colonia Formation was roughly 6 meters or 20 feet long and weighed only around 7.8 tons. This species was classified as a saltosauroid titanosaur related to dinosaurs like Saltosaurus and Opisthocoelocaudea, but even the smallest titanosaurs were still quite large when compared to modern-day animals. Titanosaurs were by far one of the most successful groups of sauropod dinosaurs to ever exist, lasting from 140 all the way to 66 million years ago. Now that we have gotten familiar with titanosaurs as a group, let's take a look at the Jurassic World Rebirth Titanosaurus and see how scientifically informed it really is. For starters, size matters, and this Jurassic World dinosaur is way too big and oversized. Based on what we see on screen and some additional renders, the animal is over 144 feet long and stands well over 60 feet high. While a weight estimate is a bit harder, the film's animal is thought to exceed 210 tons or over 460,000 pounds. The Rebirth Titanosaurus far exceeds the length and height limit of any large titanosaur, and it's over double the size of Patagotitan. The absurd length is made especially apparent thanks to its ridiculously long tail. Now, compared to other sauropods like Diplodocids, titanosaurs did not have overly long tails that were proportionally longer than their necks. Even titanosaurs like Epacthosaurus, which is known for its long tail amongst the group, still came nowhere close to the extremely long tail of Rebirth's Titanosaurus. In addition, Rebirth sauropod can bend and move their tails in ways that are biomechanically impossible even for longer-tailed sauropods. But not gonna lie though, the Titanosaur couple, wrapping their tails around each other while they nuzzle, was super duper adorable. Now let's take a look at the body proportions. The animal is overall not too dissimilar from what we expect of large-bodied titanosaurs, with the exception of the overly long tail. It has large, pillar-like legs that support its body, and its neutral posture is not too inaccurate based on modern reconstructions of titanosaur sauropods. Moving on, let's take a look at the head and skull shape. Based on the more complete titanosaur skulls of Tapiosaurus, Sarmientosaurus, Nemetosaurus, Diamantinosaurus, and Rapetosaurus, the Jurassic World Rebirth Titanosaurus doesn't seem to align well with our current understanding of these animals' skull anatomy. During the museum sequence, we see that the Titanosaurus skull is much closer to the skull shape seen in late Jurassic Macronaria dinosaurs like Camarasaurus. It has a much more boxy and stout shape with a bulbous protrusion. It is worth mentioning that Titanosaurs are believed to have descended from Macronaria, so maybe InGen's clone has genetic material from Macronaria sauropods in its genome, leading to the skull shape. Now of course, we can't talk about the head without mentioning those sick display fins. While really cool and unique looking, these fins are very far-fetched, even for sauropod standards. For starters, sauropods possessing display structures isn't new. In fact, animals like Amargasaurus had tall neural spines which would have formed a fleshy sail on its neck in life. However, the display fins on the Titanosaurus neck and above its hips are retractable. This is something that is very unlikely for sauropods, as there are no living reptiles that can retract their display fins in a similar manner to the rebirth Titanosaurus. Now let's move down to the feet. Based on the best renders of this animal, it turns out that the Jurassic World designers might have actually done a little bit of homework this time around. Jurassic World sauropods and almost all the herbivores in this franchise are generally given elephant-like feet, which is far from accurate. Now, based on official renders, the front feet of the Titanosaurus are still inaccurate and more like the feet of elephants. In reality, Titanosaurs and all sauropods lacked any padding on their front feet, and instead had an almost C-shaped foot. In addition, unlike other large sauropods, more derived Titanosaur species are believed to have lacked the large thumb spikes we see in animals like Brachiosaurus. However, the hind feet are quite accurate, with the correct toe placement. In reality, these feet were much rounder than the front feet, and had large toe claws that splayed outwards. Finally, let's take a look at the animal's skin. Now, I'm not going to comment too much on the colors since we don't have preserved Titanosaur skin that shows us color yet. Having said that, I do appreciate the vibrant and colorful look that the Rebirth designers gave these animals. It's a nice departure from the typical drab dark grays and browns that most of the other herbivores get. As far as the actual integument goes, unfortunately the Rebirth design strays too far from the science by giving these animals a more elephant-like skin. In reality, we know that Titanosaurs and sauropods in general had very complex and diverse scale structures. Many Titanosaurs specifically also had osteoderms on their dorsal region, and it would have been cool to see some of that incorporated in the Rebirth Titanosaurus design. But perhaps the most surprising addition to the Titanosaurus integument is the presence of feathers? In close-up shots of the Titanosaurus legs, we see thin filamentous structures analogous to the hairs on an elephant, with the discovery of dinosaurs like Colindrodromaeus and feathers being a very basal trait to dinosaurs as a whole. It's neat to see this little added speculative touch. Of course, it's worth mentioning that there is no evidence of sauropods having feathers, and it's likely that these animals evolved to be mostly, if not completely, scaly. While the addition of sparse filamentous feathers is cool, I personally think that giving these animals scales based on our current understanding of sauropods would have been a better approach to take. So, now that we've gone over the inaccuracies, let's speculate on what went into the DNA of the InGen Titanosaurus. For starters, instead of using generic Titanosaurus DNA, we'll assume that InGen opted for a much larger and more iconic species, Patagotitan, one of the largest dinosaurs ever discovered. To enhance the already impressive tail length, DNA from Diplodocus likely was spliced in, contributing to the animal's elongated whip-like tail. And given the Titanosaurus head shape, we'll assume that DNA from Camarasaurus was used to give it a more boxy skull shape. Of course, no InGen hybrid would be complete without a touch of amphibian influence, so frog DNA is most definitely in the genetic mix. As for the sparse feather-like structures we see on the animal's legs, perhaps Colindrodromaeosaurus DNA was used. As for the more striking feature, the vibrant display cells running along its back and tail, these seem to be inspired by the crest of basilisk lizard. However, unlike basilisk lizards, these InGen clones possess retractable display structures. That trait may have come from an unexpected source, the swordfish. Swordfish are capable of fanning out and retracting their dorsal fin, which they use for maneuvering and communication in the water. In the InGen Titanosaurus, These retractable sails serve a similar communicative function, used for visual display during courtship. So there we have it, our speculative genetic makeup of the Jurassic World Titanosaurus. Again, none of this is officially canon to the franchise, rather, this was done so as a fun way to further differentiate between the fantasy of Jurassic World and the reality of the fossil record. I hope you all had a great time with this sauropod-filled analysis. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe for more awesome animated content about dinosaurs and other extinct animals. And if you want a more exclusive behind-the-scenes look into future videos, consider joining the Patreon. Now, Titanosaurus may officially be the largest dinosaur in the franchise, but it is far from the scariest herbivore. I think that title belongs to Jurassic World Dominion's terrifying Therizinosaurus, which you can learn more about in this video here. As always, thank you for watching.